Okay, it is me again. Third video in a row. I guess I'm feeling inspired today. I want to talk a little bit about expansion with you. So, when we create shifts in our lives and we step into more empowered places, so those are places in which we are overcoming our limiting beliefs. We are breaking barriers. We are stepping into new ways of being. We're shifting patterns. So when we start to do that, we are what we're called evolving. We're expanding beyond the limited self, beyond the way we're used to being, the way we've organized ourselves. So, one of the things that happens in life is we find a way of being that feels comfortable and reliable and gets us a reliable result. That reliable result may not always be a favorable result, but it is reliable. So, in childhood, we learn to organize ourselves to get these reliable results so that we feel safe, so that we feel comfortable. It's how we've learned to function in our family systems. If person does X and I feel scared, I have to learn to figure out a way to get back to safety so I can feel safe in this community, in this environment. And so whatever it is that I navigate my way or manage to figure out what feels safe, I'm going to create that. And then if it works, which it usually works because it offers temporary relief. But if it works, then I'm just going to do that again and again and again and again and again. That's how we create patterns in life. We are always creating a way of being that brings us back to the illusion of safety. So why do I say all that? Because when we start to expand beyond those old limiting patterns, because imagine doing something the same way over and over again, it's like a recipe. If you use the same ingredients, you're going to get the same result. It's why we like recipes so much. If I put this much flour and this much sugar and this much butter together and add these chocolatey chips, I am going to get a really yummy, delicious chocolate chip cookie. And if I cook it in the same oven at the same heat at the same time, and I do the same thing with the butter, I am going to get this result. This is how we organize ourselves to feel in control of our lives. And then what happens is we stay kind of small. We stay in that world of safety. So imagine being a chocolate chip cookie maker and never doing anything ever again in your whole entire life. You just become this one thing over and over again. So when we shift out of those patterns, right? So we step out of doing the thing the way we're used to doing it, and we experiment with trying something new, we're inevitably going to get a new result. So, this is what creativity is all about. Creativity is like getting messy and playing and trying new things and getting curious, like experiencing life from the lens of curiosity. So, this is where real expansion and real growth takes place. So, why am I saying all this to you? Because there were a few things that happened today that required me to step out of my old ways of being and try on something new, try something different. And creating these videos, for instance, is one thing I'm doing that is expanding me. It's inviting me to do something different. Um, I was given the instruction from sort of my higher self, or my spirits, or my guides, or my angels, however you want to describe them. I heard a message, put down the pen. I typically like to write. That's the way I feel comfortable expressing myself. I like writing because I can go back and I can edit and I could fix mistakes and I can perfect it and I can make it just right and I can have my thoughts more organized and I can have the perception of being really articulate. And so it feels like a controlled way to express myself. This does not. As you can see, I've been off on a few tangents. And I worry that if this is the way I'm expressing myself, that perhaps, it's not going to be useful to you, or you're not going to want to listen to me, or I'm going to seem like a crazy person, or I'm not going to appear like I know what I'm talking about, or whatever the fears are in my head, they hold me back from expressing myself in this way. So, number one thing I'm doing today is creating these videos as a way to connect with you and share with you in real time what's going on for me and how I'm integrating these things that I'm learning into my life so that you can choose if they feel um, useful to you or of service to you in your life. So, what did I notice? I expanded in that way, creating the videos. Secondly, had two conversations with two of my kids, two different kids, and did that differently. And there was another way I did something differently. So I did three or four things differently all in a row. So probably within a few hours period of time. What's happening is I'm noticing some, I'm going to pause this for a minute. Construction going on. So I wanted to close the windows. Coming back to you. So what I've noticed is as I expanded, trying to do different things outside of my comfortable patterns, right? As I expanded and I've taken these risks, or at least my ego perceives them as risks, um, my nervous system is getting a little activated, right? So there's a little fear, right? There's a little fear when you're taking a risk, like you're going on a roller coaster ride and you have some fear, like the adrenaline is running. And then you multiply it by 3 or 4 new things that you're trying on, and my nervous system is getting a little shaky. So what that means, first of all, I call upon my self-awareness practices so that I can stay in relationship to my body. So I have this meditation practice called the check-in practice that I use all day long, every day. And it is an opportunity for me to keep coming back and checking in with my body so that I can have a really deep and intimate relationship with myself, with what it's like to be this body, this being on this planet in this time. Not anybody else, not what anyone else is experiencing, just this body, because it's all I can control. So I use the check-in practice. It's a free gift to you. So maybe I'll link that below and you can check it out and see if it's supportive to you. But that practice helps me first and foremost. It points me back to paying attention to the sensations that are occurring in my body, because that is my first clue about where I'm at in reality, in this 3D reality. And if there's any kind of activation in my nervous system, it is an opportunity or an invitation for me to stop, to slow down, to nurture myself. So as a mother, I can relate to it like, when my kids were little and they were kind of like wired and out of control, like they've had too much sugar, or they've, been out with their friends and they're like pinged up on energy. And one of the things I remember myself saying as a mom, as a young mom in particular, is like, calm down, let's calm down. But we can tell one another to calm down, but do we really know how to calm ourselves down? Because what's happening is when we're running this energy, that's what's happening on the inside our bodies. So learning how to calm yourself down is a really important skill. So for me, that just meant taking a breath, slowing down, using my breath to bring my nervous system back to homeostasis, back to its home frequency, and then, like, whatever it is that supports me in reconnecting, right? So, um, less doing, more being. So for me, it might mean I'm going to take a walk in a minute, just sit in my yard in the sun for a minute and take in and breathe. And really, for me, like, one of the ways that I find most nurturing and helpful is to stop getting input, stop taking information in, and just letting everything go, and letting myself reconnect inward. That's really hard to do because we have been so conditioned to pop on social media or pop in on our phones or reach out to someone, listen to a podcast, read a book, play a game, whatever it is that we're used to doing to relax is counter in it's counter to the action of relaxing. And it's counterintuitive to do nothing, but doing nothing is actually doing something, because doing nothing is the gateway to reconnecting back in with your true self, with your most authentic self. So this idea of expansion, of going beyond your patterns, is a big deal, because when you start to do it, you're gonna have an experience. You're gonna have a physical experience in the body, which I'm gonna call fear, or it's gonna feel like fear in the body. And when you start to shift your patterns and feel that fear, the invitation is to go deeper into it, is to feel it, to stay with it, to not bypass it or cut it off or resist it or push it away. Learning to stay inside that expanded self is a skill, and it's one that you can harness and you can practice. And the more you practice it, the more you expand and find yourself in the seat of safety, in the seat of security, even in the expansion, the more opportunities you have to evolve and expand. So this is my invitation for you this week, is really lean into the pattern interrupters in your life. Start to pay attention to, build your awareness around, what are my patterns? And then see, am I willing to do something different to get a different result? And then allow the body to have the experience it's going to have, and then create some authentic safety in the body when you do expand. Let yourself relax into it. This is called integration. So let your body integrate this up level, this new way of being, because you're resetting your programming. And that, my friends, is a very, very big deal. That's what the planet needs more than anything right now. And it all starts at home. It starts here, and it starts in our nuclear family systems and in our closest relationships. And then it ripples out into the world. All right. I hope that was useful to you. And I'll see you when I see you next time.